Welcome to Data Visionary Talks. So the person I have here with me he's a really interesting person. I think he has quite a few stories to share, not only from his professional life, but also from back in the army days, I've heard.
Oh yeah.
But today we're just going to talk about Lee. Tell me a little bit about what do you do here at NetApp?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Lee Howard. I am the Chief Technologist for our Global Industry Solutions and Alliances. And so a big part of that is going around identifying new trends and then removing the fear that people have of embracing those newer trends.
Wow, fear is such a strong word.
It is.
I mean, I can't help but ask you, what do you mean, what are those trends that you see in the industry that people are worried about embracing?
Yeah, so as technology's adapting so rapidly, it's absolutely crazy. And folks, there's a lot of fear because that's your job, that's your livelihood, it's the lifeblood of the business. We talk about us being data visionaries. Data is that lifeblood. And so as we see a proliferation of IoT, of DevOps, of these new trends that are out there, new connected devices, how do you harness all that data in order to be successful and be able to be competitive out there? It can cause a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear in our customers out there and our partners. Absolutely.
I struggle, being up to date. There's so much going on. And I think change is always difficult. It is scary to change. But the industry where we are right now, I don't think companies have the option not to change. But it's like if you can go to those customers you see and give them tips like how they could embrace the change. For example, with DevOps, what would you do? What would you tell them? Like how would you explain what they have to do? And what are the trends you see with DevOps, for example? I find it really, really exciting.
Yeah.
So tell me more.
Well, so a lot of folks think DevOps are only for those shops where they are focused primarily their core competency on software development. And that's not everybody. And even if you aren't going to be one of those software shops and that's not what your firm does, you still want to take those core tenets that make DevOps shops and software development houses successful and incorporate that into your daily routine. As we start looking at, IoT is a big piece. Those connected devices that are bringing data in, how do you normalize that data? How do you bring it in so that you can do, really harness a lot of really nice insights? We also see that folks are extremely geographically dispersed. And so how can we deliver insights in a timely fashion to be able to make decisions, that much more intuitive? How do we diversify out risk from daily operations, even if we're not doing software development, which everybody seems to think that's the only thing DevOps is? We can still take that approach of containerization, of bringing in microservices in order to become much more efficient, because at the end of the day, operational efficiency is what's driving most decisions out there. How do you do more with less? All the marketers out there, they've been saying that, for the last 5 to 7 years, and you would think there's no budgets left. But it's definitely something that is not muscle memory, and by that I mean not something you have to learn, you have to get that scar tissue, but we've got a lot of resources to help people do that.
Well, that's exciting to hear, to be honest. I mean, I think what you said, like efficiency, right? A lot of people are scared to think about efficiency because they think, I have to invest and do stuff. But the key thing about efficiency is like, once you're efficient, you're actually saving, doing more and less and better. It's like, you just kind of have to if you want to improve, innovate. I sometimes say it's like, I think generally companies have to, it's like a motto, innovate or die, but it is true, like you have to embrace technology, you have to become a software company, even if you're not a software company, because every company has to be a technology company.
Absolutely.
I mean, otherwise millennials not going to buy it. But one of the things I want to ask you though, so as I said, we're both very excited about the DevOps. Can you tell me a little about the DevOps initiative we have in NetApp?
Yeah. I would say, if you're wanting to test the waters and get into is this right for my organization? We've got a bevy of resources out there. Number one is the pub. And people are saying, well, are you going around the corner for a drink? Well, it's not exactly that kind of a pub, but it's NetApp.io, and a fantastic spot where we have the brain trust within DevOps that's looking not just from a NetApp lens, but from a wider perspective of our alliances and our different partners that we cooperate with in order to bring these solutions to market. So you've got an area to be able to ask questions. You've got technical blogs that detail the evolution that a customer might go through. And then for some of the feature sets that we have out there, doing things with Trident, for example, for container orchestration, our NetApp Docker Volume plugin, which is now becoming part of the Trident solution, which I'm absolutely excited about.
That's really exciting. Honestly, I love Docker. Just because also they have a cool branding, it's really refreshing. Yes. And it's so exciting. It's like you see all those people just, wanting to do things in an open source and contribute their time. And I think that's how one of the most exciting projects are working. It's keep growing and growing and growing.
Collaborative thought leadership is what I think the hallmark of success is going to look like in the future, that you have to have a coalition of folks that are willing to say, we operate outside of each other's P&Ls. Let's just put that on the table. And it's not just about business, it's what all can we achieve together and really be able to collaborate to find some very interesting solutions. And I think as you're seeing more and more of the major players out there team up and do these consortiums, do these coalitions of thought leadership, that's why we are seeing such a rapid pattern of innovation. But then that's also difficult if you are an end user out there to keep pace with it. It seems like the human capital, as soon as they are able to deliver a proficiency in something, a brand new technology comes out. And so what we want to do is just eliminate a lot of the noise out there, a lot of the friction, and you could come to NetApp to really understand where's a wise place for us to be able to invest, and then give me a roadmap to get to that. And I think we've been able to do it. It's like climbing Mount Everest. You could go up all by yourself, but wouldn't it make more sense to go with some Sherpas who have already climbed up that? Come up our path with us.
I would really like to talk to our brewmasters who are actually the pub experts. Yeah. That you think they're Sherpas. I really wonder what they feel like. But I think you're absolutely right. We have great advocates for DevOps and NetApp. Everyone's, by the way, is pretty cool. They're probably one of my favorite people to hang out because at the pub, they also have beer.
Yeah. Which is an important element to anything in IT, absolutely.
Well, I live in Britain, and if there's a place called the pub, even if it's virtual, if they don't have beer, they're just going to lose me.
Absolutely. But, you look at all the technologies that are out there and being able to nurture those in a way to say these are complementary technologies to be able to go with. We're here at Cisco Live in Barcelona, and so across NetApp and Cisco specifically, you've got the SolidFire integrations into FlexPod that are great for a DevOpsian environment and giving you storage that you can consume rather than having to configure. You've got App Dynamics, which is a great way to start at a good known state and understand how those applications want to be able to evolve. The Clicker acquisition that Cisco had of orchestrating between multiple clouds. As we see, it's not just the fact that you have a cloud service out there, they're going to start differentiating themselves to gain competitive advantages, and we want to be able to deliver a multi-cloud strategy for our end users out there to be able to port between the different clouds as it makes sense to them.
Yeah, I think it should be all about the freedom of the customer to choose whatever they want, and I personally think we at NetApp believe that we just want to help them and partner them and make that journey, because at the end of the day, the customer success is our success as well.
Absolutely.
One last question for you though, because I've heard a lot about if someone's interested in DevOps, they can go to the pub. But do you have any other tips, like personal tips, for example? Do they have to learn coding? Is there like a specific languages? What are the places you would tell to someone who's scared about DevOps, but they want to find out more and they want to learn? And What would you recommend?
I would say, it really depends upon where your discipline is at currently. If you're a developer, everybody's really good at creating code, but artifact repository is something that people aren't necessarily that proficient in. And so being able to have that complete story, for business and operation folks, really understanding the development life cycle so that everybody's speaking the same language together, that same dialect, because I think they've been siloed within the business for so long that they really don't understand how they all coexist together. And so understanding your own environment, I think, is the number one spot to start from. And then once you have a good known state, you know where you want to get to. We're partners that can help you get on that highway to get to where you're wanting to go.
Absolutely. For me, I really looked into learning how to code. Not because I think I can become a coder, but just so I understand the mindset, the skills, and actually being able to talk to someone who code. Because at the end of the day, if you have dispersed team and everyone's doing what they're doing, and teams are not having the same strategy, you're just not having one single vision. And I think that's why everyone should at least try to talk to coders. They would love to.
Absolutely.
They would love to get sometimes people who are interested in what they do, and take it from there.
So yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And what we really want to be able to do is provide you access. If you're an end user looking at adopting a DevOps approach, and we've got the brain trust. Josh Atwell is amazing. He's a published author on the subject, and we're lucky enough to have him on staff. He's about bringing conviction to deploying DevOps in the environment, so that all those stakeholders that we were talking about, that they're taken care of. Follow him on Twitter. His Twitter feed is hilarious, and so it's entertaining and informative. What else do you need?
Honestly, it must be like a ginger trait, because it is hard to be a ginger, and I actually have a soft spot for people like him. And Josh Atwell is actually probably one of my favorite people, but it takes proper guts to be really funny. And he's amazing. You guys, you should follow Josh Atwell. This is advertising about him, because he's the right person. He would connect you to people. And make sure you follow NetApp Pop. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in social media. Well, I am. But it's just a great place to go and find out what we're up to. We go to a lot of events, The guys are always open to have questions. They're one of the most amazing team, and they have a lot of resources, and they're just there for you to help you understand what DevOps is about, but help you also, leverage those tools and just embrace the journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to learn from those who have gone before, and Josh Atwell is my DevOps Sherpa.
Oh, wow. I'll ask him how he feels about that. And he can come back to you.
There you go.
So, enough about Josh. I have one last question for you.
All right.
It's not related to Josh. Sorry. So, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Everybody always does the default. I want to be able to fly. It's about, having freedom out there. For me, time travel.